me from Nicole. Till I'm laid to rest. Yes, always be depressed. There's no life in the West. I know the East is the best. All the propaganda them spread. Tongues will have to confess. Organize and centralize. Come as one. Overseas shall be so many more than sand. Some new one replenish. Pure and clean and for too long we been under this man. Some a say Baba riches at them empty and once them is stupid and laugh on you can easier for a camel to enter through an eagle line than it is for a rich guy to enter in a Zion. Take it from Iman, so till I'm laid to rest. Yes,
WEFM, the only fresh sound.
WhatsApp us or call us at 457-9997. Activated Mornings on WEFM 99.9 is on now.
All right, sit down to Vincent County Grenadines. It's time to hear from Lyf Compton. Lyf, good morning, good morning, good morning.
Good morning. I wonder who stopped that buju there from playing. I hope Roleza is you stop that buju
there. You wanted to go into the segment, yes or no? Huh?
I was listening to buju. You disturbed the buju. Good morning, everyone.
There's a session going on. Mm-hmm.
Okay, yes, definitely. Good morning, everyone. How are you? How are you, Nicole?
I am good. You light up my life, you know. Every time I see you,
Thank you. Same for me, because I love Trinidad and I love you.
Oh, thank you. And let me drop in a little bit of solution for you now. Sakafe.
Okay. Well, I don't know what I mean, but okay.
Asking you how you're going, and you're going to say, Mwela, I did.
Mwela, I did. Mwela. Okay. Yeah. So yesterday, we saw the government announce the diplomats. I think that is something that everybody was waiting to see, right? Well, ever since Forces was saying that it would have been Patel Matthews who would take up the position, and we saw that was one thing that was leaked, but the other positions weren't leaked, right? But the most controversial posting is with my friend Kenton Chance, who has been appointed ambassador designate to Taiwan, right? Me and Kenton used to discuss this all the time, whether or not he would accept a diplomatic posting, because he has a degree in international relations, and he is qualified for that type of posting, and he would normally say that it's not something that he's like 100% interested in. And I would always tell him, I used to say, boy, we're talking is stupid. That make no sense, because you have the training for it, and if offered.
Okay, we're not hearing you like something life, something not life. Life, something tripped out for you. Yeah, something, we're not hearing you. It's faded. It sounds faded. All right. Now we're not hearing. Okay, he goes and come back in. All right. So we are standing by to have Lyf rejoin us to bring us his commentary for this morning. All right, let's try again, Lyf.
Yeah, you hearing me now?
Yes, much better.
Yeah. So yeah, as I was saying, I used to always tell him that if he got offered a position like that from any government, from anywhere in the world or whatever, he should take it, right? And we actually spoke about this shortly before the election, and he was saying that he's not 100% sure if he's interested. And I told him that would be a very bad idea not to take a position like that. because don't mind when people say or whatever. Just take the position because you qualify for that. And I know because of the stances you have taken on certain things that you will be very good in the position. So I'm happy to see that he actually took the position, and he is one. I don't think there was really other choice for the Taiwan position, to be honest, because he has the training for it. He's probably one of the very few persons in civils who has training in that area. He speaks the language to some extent. He was trained there. He's very he knows a lot about the culture or whatever. So I don't think that is a problem at all, and I would like to congratulate him. But as usual, he's getting a lot of backlash on social media for it, right? But he knows how to take criticism, because he's been taking criticism for years because of his work or whatever. You know what I mean? So congratulations to him, and he can get plenty licks, but he could take it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Kenton, there are persons in Vince who are finding us take plenty licks. You see, Kenton, and people who upset with the lotto results, Mr. Seeley, right?
Yeah.
They don't deserve it, they just always get the licks. So yeah.
Yeah, the other person who Miss Jackson, she's going to Cuba. I have had interactions with her over the years in relation to like social programs she was doing and thing. I think that I would like to congratulate her also, because I know she's a very smart. She's a very intelligent person. She is also very street smart, and she's a nice person. I've had interactions with her over the years, and I think that that's a good posting for her also. I haven't really interacted with the other people who were chosen. I never really had much interaction with Mr. Matthews. He's going to the Council General position. I don't know the other person, Britain Horn, at all. He's going to the UK. But interestingly enough, I hear persons were saying, "Oh, they should have left the person who was in the UK in that position." I don't think that they should have left the person that was in the position, because he has been there for over 25 years. He's been there very long, and I think that is to actually get somebody different once he's willing to walk them through the process or whatever. I don't have a problem with that. Miss Frederick, I've known her for a long time. She's going to the United Nations. I don't really have much to say about that. I noticed that the person in Venezuela is left in Venezuela. I don't know why. maybe there's a kind of ticklish situation right now, but the person who was in Venezuela is still there. So congratulations to Ali.
And Miss Gilchrist.
Oh, she's left there also?
Yes, she is. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, right. So yeah, congratulations to those people, right? As I said, Kenton is taking plenty licks on social media, but who really cares? Right?
And Kenton's so used to it, that's the thing.
Yeah, who cares? Nobody cares about that. But
Kenton back broad, man.
But okay, that's one thing. But this morning, right, I have a very interesting, I know it's Friday, I have a very interesting, entertaining story to tell you all this morning about something that I was contacted about from the United States, right? And it's Friday, so let me give you all a bit of entertainment. So this lady who resides in the United States, right, she contacted me, and she says to me that she has an uncle that suffers from dementia, and he is a Vincentian, but he left St. Vincent many years ago. He first went to the UK to join with them, because all the family was in the UK. They went to the UK, he joined with them in the UK, then they all went to the United States. They are Vincentians, they are UK citizens, they are United States citizens. So 24 years ago, the man decided that he was coming back home. Within the last 5 years, he developed dementia and Alzheimer's, and the niece of his niece has been taking care of him. So he was at home in St. Vincent, and they would have carers come in and take care of him or whatever. So a few months ago, this woman, this 62-year-old woman, she appeared and she said that she was his daughter, and they never knew about her. And so then she went, the alleged daughter went with her cousin to visit the guy, and obviously he has dementia, he has Alzheimer's, he didn't know her, he doesn't know anybody, and whatever. So for some reason, the family accepted that this woman was his daughter. So at one point, they asked her, well, I'm kind of cutting the story short, right? Because I know we have limited time. So at one point, they asked her if she was willing to bring him to the United States so he could get his medical checkups or whatever. And she agreed to bring him to the States. So she took him up to the States and met with the niece or whatever. She stayed with them. They took him for his medical checkups or whatever. At one point now, the niece decided that it would be good if she had some help taking care of the elderly gentleman. And she decided to give power of attorney in St. Vincent and in the United States to this alleged daughter. So she went and got the paperwork done or whatever, and the daughter was given power of attorney in St. Vincent and in America. Now, while in America, she takes the alleged daughter to the bank, and there's this exorbitant sum of money in the guy's account, basically, and the money is being used to take care of him or whatever, right? And she allows the lady to give the power of attorney to the bank, and the bank allows the lady to have access to the account. Now, the first day that she received power of attorney, she said she wanted $10,000 out the account. So the bank said no. The bank said no, you can't get 10, you can get 7. She said, okay, give me the 7. So the gist of this story is over the period of time now, this lady now basically takes over care of the elderly gentleman, and the family did not want him to come back to the to St. Vincent as yet. They wanted him to stay in the USA for a while because of his medical issues, but she decided that she was taking him back to St. Vincent. So she brought him back to St. Vincent, and when she brought him back to St. Vincent, the niece would call and she would find it very hard to get her. Then she proceeds to go back to the account. She takes out 11,000. Then she goes back, she takes out 40,000, and then she goes back and she takes out 40,000. So she basically leaves something like $7,000 in the account. But the only reason that these $7,000 remain in the account is because the family kind of realized, yo, this woman is a scammer, and they decided to like revoke the power of attorney. I don't know how in the world they got it revoked, but they got the power of attorney revoked, and they're asking this woman to return the money, and the woman is refusing to return the money and telling them, listen, y'all can't call me, don't ask me to take no money or whatever. That is my father or whatever. But up to now, nobody can prove if this woman is actually this man's daughter. Mm-hmm. And it just shows that people need to be very, very careful these days with who they trust, especially when it comes to large sums of money like that. I do not understand how is it that you hardly know this person, you meet this person, and you're so trustworthy as to just sign over all this access to all this money to this woman. And it all comes back down to elderly abuse, I think, is a problem that we have been having in St. Vincent for quite a very long time, where you would hear a lot of times that there are elderly people who have a lot of money and they have big houses and a lot of land, and when they reach a certain age, they start to suffer from dementia, Alzheimer's, or they get down in age, they get weak, and the children or the family relatives just dump them at the lowest point at home. That was a big thing back in the day. I don't know if it still happens now. I don't know the intake of the lowest point at home, but this has been a problem for a very long time. We saw during the eruption of the La Soufrière volcano that there were elderly people not taken back by the family members. They were basically left at the shelters and left at the various places they went during the volcanic eruption. You know what I mean? So people need to be very, very careful of who they trust, right? But because I find this story I find the whole thing very strange that you could just newly meet someone and trust them to do that. And I find people really, really, as we just said, very cold to empty out the account and basically and it's not like if that she was taking care of the gentleman, right? She wasn't taking care of the gentleman at all. There were a lot of issues that arose while she was taking out the money, and she never dealt with them, and the family still had to come back and deal with whatever he was going through financially or whatever. You know what I mean? So to me, I think I find that was a very interesting story, and I thought I would share that this morning, seeing it's Friday. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I mean, I'm curious as to know how this lady knew that the man had money, though. How did she come by knowing that?
The family overseas.
Yeah, she was told about the account for some reason. She was given a lot of information for some reason. You know what I mean? She had never, and like the family, this guy is around. This guy's about 88, and he left St. Vincent. He left St. Vincent apparently like probably like 1 year before this, like couple of months before this young lady was actually born. He left St. Vincent because the young lady is 62. So that would mean that he became, if she's saying his father, she became the father of this child around 26 years old, but he had left St. Vincent before he was 26. So I don't know if it's a situation where he would visit or if he got the person pregnant before he left, but the maths wasn't really adding up in the head of the relatives, but yet still they sign over all this big set of money to this woman.
And that is the other thing as well too, is like somebody just appear out to the blue. You don't really know this individual. There's certain information family members would know in terms of being able to trace back to say, okay, this is who it is I came from, etc. Did they even do that? And in this day and age, to me, it's just where that, number one, the family members would accept. Number two, she was able to have that power of attorney change. And number three, the bank. And I'm wondering, Nicole, from the bank standpoint, when you see large transactions coming out like that, even if somebody has a power of attorney, let's say there's an account that wasn't, that's probably only touched, that is only touched maybe certain times within the year, or you only see, you know, the trends. You would see the account withdrawals. When you see changes to the accounts like that in terms of withdrawals, shouldn't that be flagged? Shouldn't that be raised? So to me, it's a lot of questions.
I would usually be very vigilant when I see things like that. I'll tell you, there were times as a banker when I would see all of a sudden, someone coming in, an elderly person coming in with somebody that I'd never seen before, particularly when I was a branch manager. Somebody that you never seen before, and suddenly you realize, but wait a minute, this person has never come in with a companion. And, you know, even when it particularly with large sums of money, you want to clarify. And if it's cash, it's worse. Because then there's no traceability as opposed to if it's a bank draft. But elder abuse and financial elder abuse is so real. And what Lyf is referencing there is not uncommon. The only difference in some places will be these stops and checks or checks and balances where people might see a red flag because this is happening maybe in a short space of time and with large sums. But essentially, this is such a real situation that many times you just have to be vigilant. You have to be watching and question it. Ask people, you know, and for me, I remember asking, you know, in instances where there would be transactions like that, I would ask, what's the rationale for this withdrawal? And many times, you know, sometimes remember, a lot of times with dementia especially, people remember certain facets of their life and not necessarily all of it. So the facets that they might remember might also force them to justify what they're doing. So it's really, really something that is frightening.
And that's the thing. There are so many things with getting old. I suppose maybe now you're kind of at that age where you have to think in advance so much. Think about all the different scenarios that could happen. Try to put things in place, you know, because you just never know. And I really do feel it for older folks who are not in a position to be able to take care of themselves, older folks who, you know, maybe you thought that there is misplaced trust in some regards as well. I really do feel it for them.
Yeah, and one of the things that the lady told me that they got a psychiatrist to assess the elderly gentleman, and he was found to have dementia and Alzheimer's, and any decisions he made in the last 2 years was basically not off his own because he doesn't know anything that's going on around him. He's totally like full stage dementia, full stage Alzheimer's. He doesn't know anything that is going on. So they're basically saying that they're going to pursue the matter in the courts, but I think they would have to pursue it as a civil matter because she said that they went to the police in Bayabu, and the lady, they like questioned the lady, and the lady gave them some story. You know what I mean? So they have to now pursue this through the courts to to get her to return the money. But I don't think the money is there anymore because
Correct, right.
they trace one of the transactions to some bank in Brampton. 40,000 of the last transaction was deposited to a bank in Brampton, and they say currently that the lady here is building a home. So I don't think that money exists anymore. And one of the interesting things that they say she was also trying to take his house here, but the house is not in his name. The house is already in a relative's name. So what she was doing, she was going to him and asking him questions and then recording the answers and using the recording as evidence. But the psychiatrist has already said that this person is not in a position where they can make any sort of decisions, and he hasn't been able to do that within the last 2 years from the assessment. You know, so I really, you see, when you scammers are serious, right? Scammers have ended people's lives. We hear about the Ponzi scheme, the most famous one. Basically, those guys were the first set of scammers, and they have ended people's lives. They have taken people's money and caused people to commit suicide, caused people to become homeless. So I think it's one of the largest scale scams that have ever been perpetrated in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Basically, from our knowledge, this 100,000 US could take us a little under 300,000 EC dollars, right? A little under 300,000 EC dollars, a little under that, probably like about $40,000 under that figure. You know what I mean? So I will actually like to see this person being held accountable for doing this though, because like and what's interesting, the lady said that the guy has one daughter that they know about, and she did something similar. So they had to revoke her power of attorney very, very early before she herself emptied the account. So
So the daughter did that to the father?
Yeah, the real daughter, the one that they got verified. She was going.
Go ahead, Lyf. Go ahead.
Yeah, she was going down that line too. So they had revoked that early. They had caught and do that early. And Nicole, what you said about the bank did call her, the bank call her. I think the bank called her after the first $40,000 transaction. And then the other $40,000 transaction came a little while after she received the car from the bank. So the lady was actually moving fast, and the bank didn't she has the power of attorney, she have the authority. The other lady actually took her to the bank and signed over to her too. So I don't know if they could have stopped her. I think I don't know how it works. Maybe you could explain how it works if the bank could have actually stopped her from taking money.
No. If it is that the owner of the account has signed a power of attorney and it had not been challenged even at that time, there would have been no liability on the bank's behalf, so that they would be authorized, because they will take it as the client's authorization. The only time a power of attorney ceases is either upon cancellation or at death. And so, or of course, if it is challenged legally. So the truth is, she had the right, and she was given the right based on his signature. Unfortunately, it was done out of him not being of sound mind and body. So that is the legal aspect of it that couldn't be challenged there.
But one of the things that I think that many persons, when you realize that you're getting older, you start, when you are of sound mind, put your things in place, put them in black and white. Have your witnesses, leave it with a lawyer or whoever, somebody who you trust, and to avoid these type of situations. Because it's so difficult for me to know that, let's say a man or a parent has worked so hard all of their life to try to make sure that when they get to old age, that they have enough that they be able to take care of themselves without becoming a financial burden to anybody else, right? This is probably what this gentleman did. He probably saved up enough so that he'd be able to safeguard himself for old age, only to now realize that in the end, somebody come and scam him out of his money, and you really and truly don't know what his condition, his living condition, medical condition, everything else would be afterwards. I don't know, but there's a certain place in hell for them. They just had to go in a specific path.
Yeah, and this lady was basically living a different kind of lifestyle after she started taking the money. She went on cruises and all these kind of things. While the guy was there suffering some serious medical issues. You know what I mean? So it was it's bad. These stories are very common, but we don't oftentimes hear them, right? They're very common. And another thing that happens too is like sometimes you might have a elderly person with 5-6 children, and one of the child decides they're gonna stay and take care of the parent, and then the parent dies, and the other siblings come to try to take what the parent left behind. You know what I mean? Yeah, we have a lot of these things happening, you know what I mean? And sometimes we have a child taking care of a parent, the parent dies, and they only to realize that another sibling has the rights to the property or the money or whatever, and that person takes the money when they never did anything for the parent.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But you know
and
what?
they are also
Go ahead. No, sorry. You know what's trending now?
Why don't you go ahead?
Finish life.
Yeah, there are also parents too who accumulate riches throughout their lifetime, and they just don't want to sign it over no matter how old they get. So then they leave the siblings in problems when they die.
And too much of that for me is what is happening, especially when it comes to property. Look at the amount of abandoned properties that we have here in Vinci. Look at New Montrose right about now. You see a lot of abandoned properties because it's left to family. But nobody wants to take ownership or accountability because they want for everybody to pitch in. But the one who wants to probably do it, the others are going to say, well, how are we going to benefit from this? It's ridiculous at this point in time.
Yeah, there are situations where they just nobody don't want to buy out nobody, or somebody take the entitled to all.
Yep.
So coming back to DJ Maka last week, right? Because we talked about that property that was So coming back to talk about that now. I know, right? But here's what's trending now. And I know a lot of people that have been doing it. So I am that elderly parent, for example, and I know I have 6 children. And I decide, here's what, I am going to sell this property now. I'm going to give everybody what belongs to them, but I'm keeping the majority. And what I'm doing is I'm checking into an elderly home. And a lot of people are doing it now. And there are lots of nice homes. There's this lovely home in Port of Spain, close to the Savannah, that is owned by a Dominican woman. And what she's done is converted a small boutique hotel into an elder care shared living space. So every person who lives there, resides there, every resident has their own room, and they brought at least 2 or 3 things from their original property, like maybe they brought their television or their bed or something that belongs to them still, that they still enjoy and want to keep, but they sell everything else, they split up the money, and they have nobody to fight, and they will use the rest of their funds until they no longer exist, and whatever left over is for burial and then some.
I actually thought about this recently, where I was saying, maybe like my friends and I, because we're really sure what's going on in our lives, right? But maybe we could probably just buy an area. Because I don't necessarily want to live with people. I don't want to necessarily live with my friends. I think that's how friendships just mash up. But we could probably just buy a particular area. Each of us have either a room or a house, and we just become the Golden Girls, right? We just live in that kind of way. But
so that's what I am doing. That's my plan. I bought a piece of land a few years ago, a long time ago actually. That's near the beach, and the plan has actually been designed and approved. And that's the idea. It's going to be shared living because I have no children of my own. And I do have a lot of friends who are professional women who do not have families and would like at some point as we age to live together. And we will have our shared and common space. And we're also going to have our individual space that is unique to us. So that's actually been my design. Since I was in my 30s, I did it. And I am eagerly awaiting construction.
Yeah, I think at this when we are able to, we have to think about it, because even persons with children, many persons are only making one child, right? But even persons with children, whether it's one child or more than one, you have to remember too that these children also would want to be able to live their lives. They don't necessarily want to say, I'm going home every day to have to go take care of my mother or my father. You want to be able to allow your children to experience what life and maybe living overseas and everything without being burdened with having to wonder, is my mother okay? Is my father okay? So there's actually nothing wrong with that type of concept. Whether you are a single person, unmarried, no children, or you have children, I think it's good. It's a good idea.
Yeah. So yeah, I wish I wish that family all the best in the legal proceedings. I hope that they're able to get back something. Which I doubt they're going to be able to get back that money. I doubt that. I think that money is gone basically. I don't know how the law stands in relation to forcing someone to pay it back, because if you have assets, maybe you should be forced to give up your assets or sell your assets to pay it back or whatever. But this woman in herself too, she's 62. So
no conscience, boy. That that comes back to values.
Adrian had nothing to do with this. She faced the full burden. Full burden of the law, she had a face. I ain't care about it. She could have been 82 for all I concern.
I hope so. And I hope her conscience comes back to deal with her at some point. How are you to sleep in the night? My question is always, how do you sleep?
Yeah.
Yeah. These scammers don't really care. I don't know if you watch the recent movie with that called Beehive with Jason Statham, where these people
I did.
Yeah, emptied Felicia Richard, they emptied her accounts and she was holding for charitable organization, and the scammers emptied the accounts and they didn't care. They had this whole big elaborate setup. Different setups where they were just scamming people every day. People employed just to scam people, And the gist of the thing is that he went and he burned down the entire setup. You know what I mean? So and it's a reality, It might be a movie, but this is what happens. We see these people in Jamaica. We see Jamaicans being extradited to the US to face charges for scamming people over the phone. You know what I mean?
People here in Nigeria automatically think all insurance are scammers.
Which one of us has never received a scam phone call, a scam email, or a scam text?
Oh, I like waste my time. See, when I had time, and I was like, what? I'm sending back to you.
I just reply to them.
I have the time, all right?
The inheritance. Many years, I was a child when I remember this story, and this was somebody I knew. Two people I knew, this woman and her friend. And she was sending money from the US for this friend to construct a house for her. And this friend, in life, you know where this is going, right?
Yeah, I know some stories like that.
Ownership of the land. She took title of the land. She constructed the house, and then she moved her family into a brand new house. And these were friends. Yeah. And as a child, I remember calling both of them auntie, right? Because I knew them. It was like family friends. And I remember when aunties were no longer friends. And I remember the whole scenario. And it was so upsetting, And we had to take in the auntie for a little while who was who was sending the funds to construct her house. And the other auntie fought tooth and nail to say it was hers and that the money was never acknowledged as something for her to do something for someone else. It was for her.
Yeah. And there are situations where people send money to build the homes and they come home and there's no home.
Boy, there's a situation clearly a whole roof had to come off because it should have been.
You remember a few years ago, a roof came off.
Yeah.
A few years ago, a roof came off in Kingston Park in a family dispute. I don't know if you remember that one. That was a very popular one. I don't think it's prudent for me to say what that was about right now. But that happened a few years ago in Kingston Park. I know a situation with a family in Trinidad now. The family, they say they have a home in Trinidad. They allow some people to live in the home, and now they want the home. The people don't want to come out the home, and the other relatives, they say, the home is theirs, and now they have this long court procedure going on. The persons have to be back and forth from Trinidad to fight that. So there's a lot of stories for people to take heed from, but obviously, like, people not taking heed and people not aware that these things could happen to them, right? It's just like,
because ultimately you want to trust. We need to be able to have the ability to trust in people, So I think that is where it starts. So, all right. So with that, we are going to wrap it on up today, Lyf. So we will see you back on Monday morning, right?
Lyf.
All right. Y'all enjoyed it. Yes, Maka.
Before we go to, I didn't even know you used to do taxi back in the days.
Me? I never did taxi.
I told you it was an unpaid service.
Well, Maka, boy, every time I hear you say Lyf, I don't know you come with something. I can start cutting off.
I was telling them earlier this morning that when I used to go out, it was you and another friend who my mother used to trust to allow me to.
Yeah.
So like, to drop me home.
Wow.
Yeah, Yes, sir. It used to be sometime it would be me and Devon. Sometime it would be me and Devon. We would transport everybody. You know what I mean? We driving all over, transporting everybody after the party and what's not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sometimes it might have been Quincy. You know, but yeah, we used to do that. And anyway, that's a conversation for another time.
You have to take a Roleza often, man.
That is where trust came in, right? Because we never violated these young ladies.
And that's the thing. And it's
Yes.
true because I've known Lyf since forever. And I have never.
There's no proof of that, eh?
No, but I am the living proof.
She's the proof. She's the proof. Yeah.
Never made me feel uncomfortable. And the one time Lyf made me get in trouble. I probably don't even know this. Lyf and a group of them, there was this event happening, and I don't know if you remember, I think it was by Iguana, where the last person to leave was going to get a bottle or something, and Lyf and crew was standing around, right? Lights turn on, person start to sweep, and Lyf them ain't moving because they want to win this bottle. Now, when they eventually left, right? I am going home, sun done start to break. My mother refused to open the door for me. Why? Because I'm coming home when the sun is already up. So she must be thinking I went somewhere else. Mind you, I'm a teacher at convent school. Knocking on the door, and one of the students lives in the houses below me. So I thought by Monday morning, it would have been a big story in convent school and that kind of thing. But I said never. I don't even know if I went out afterwards. But I always remember that position Lyf put me when my mother refused to open the door for me. All on account of Lyf.
I'm very
Life
sorry.
Not easy. But this is what you call life ain't easy, boys.
Yeah, my phone is ringing down, so I have to take some of these calls, right? Y'all enjoy the rest of your weekend. And stay safe. Yeah.
You as well. All righty, so that's where we come to the end of our commentary with Lyf this morning. A host of different topics, but